Hey guys, so in today's video, I'll be exposing Cliffe Knechtle. So Cliffe Knechtle is this guy who's usually speaking to students on college campuses, and the reason why I'm exposing this unsaved devil is because he preaches a false gospel of work salvation by preaching that sincere faith will be shown in the way you seek to obey God. So what he's saying is that you have to seek to obey God, or otherwise you don't have sincere faith or faith. And he's talking about faith in the salvific sense, which is a huge problem, because seeking to obey God is a work, and works have nothing to do with salvation. And nowhere in the Bible does it say sincere faith will be shown in the way you seek to obey God. It says it nowhere. It's just man-made stupidity, man-made foolishness. Matthew 7 verse 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
So you see, the real issue when it comes to faith is not how many works have you done. The real issue is your faith genuine, sincere, or is it insincere? And sincere faith will be shown in the way I seek to obey Jesus.
So as you guys heard, Cliffe Knechtle said that sincere faith will be shown in the way you seek to obey God. So what he's saying is that if you have faith but you don't seek to obey God, then you don't really have faith, which is foolishness. Faith is faith. It doesn't need to be proven by a work. It's garbage. Ephesians 2 verse 8 to 9. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Now the problem with what Cliffe Knechtle is teaching is that in the salvific sense, you would have to obey Jesus. So you would have to obey Jesus to be saved. And it's making obeying Jesus a requirement for salvation. And salvation is not of works. Salvation has nothing to do with works. And obeying Jesus is a commandment. The way you seek to obey Jesus, or whatever that means, is a work. And works have nothing to do with salvation. Romans 4 verse 4. Now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of death. People who are trying to work for their salvation, their reward isn't of grace, but it's of debt. You can't work for your salvation. Salvation is 100% on what Jesus did on the cross. If you had to work for your salvation, then that means Jesus' sacrifice on the cross isn't enough to save you. It means Jesus didn't pay for all sins on the cross. And what was the point of Jesus dying on the cross if he didn't pay for all our sins? It makes no sense. Romans 4 verse 5. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. So Cliffe Knechtle isn't believing on Christ and not working. His faith is in him trying to obey Jesus, and the way he seeks to obey Jesus. That's where his faith is in. And this just proves that he's not heaven bound. No, he's hell bound. And he's gonna split hell wide open. Romans 3 verse 20. Therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. So what's a deed of the law, you might be asking? Well, a deed of the law is basically obeying a law. For example, if you don't lie, then you're obeying the law of thou shalt not lie. And that's a deed of the law. And no one's gonna be justified by deeds of the law. No one's gonna be justified by obeying Jesus. So this proves that faith isn't shown in the way you seek to obey Jesus. Hebrews 12 verse 8. But if ye be without chastisement, wherefore all are partakers, and are ye bastards, and not sons. So Cliffe Knechtle is an unsaved, works-trusting bastard who's going straight to hell. He's going to, in other words, bust hell wide open. Because he has a false gospel. He has an accursed gospel that saves no one. Galatians 1 verse 8 to 9. But though we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have preached unto you, let him be accursed. As we said before, so I say now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. Let him go to hell.